they told me to come and sign a letter, and it was like in Ukrainian language. Like there's a restaurant, sorry.
Yeah.
As a black person, you can't go. Like I was walking out like one day with my friend, and then on the road, like the Ukrainian guy shouted and was like Chorny Divchata. So like Chorny is like black girls, and he shouted that and then spat on the road. A baby sees you and then starts crying. And then one day when I saw the child was crying, and I was like, you cry more since you want to since you want to cry. Like I think weeks before the war started, there was like this thing. Maybe there was like there was a warning, and then like so some Americans that were in Ukraine had to like leave, and then like guys like all those their fine shoes, they just like packed box and then put shoes. Like shoes was like the only things they were taking. They entered the train, and maybe if you're black, they always come out. So like we were mainly focusing on their people. I said before, because I thought like Lviv was safe, so I was still thinking like I was still going to stay a while. Let me just like finish and all of that. So I think like 3 or 4 days into the war, then I saw like a video of like the number of soldiers and that they were still bringing to Ukraine and all of that.
Wow.
So I'm like, my friends, let's pack our loot. Since we finished online, they wouldn't recognize our certificate.
Welcome to Epistles of Akolade, and here we believe that every life is a letter. And today we are going to be exploring a section in a long-form letter in the life of my guest here today. Today's letter is a letter of trials, survival, resilience, and so on. All right, without further ado, I'll introduce my guest now. I call her Mo, but this is Dr. Morolayo Aro. Hi, can you tell us any other thing that I've not said?
Any other thing? That's all, Dr. Morolayo.
Okay. All right. So basically, today's story is an interesting one. I heard her story personally, and I felt the world needs to hear this. She was a student in Ukraine when the war became very heated, and she had to go through a lot of hoops to get back home. And we're also going to explore how it is for her now that she has to settle down into a new life back here in Nigeria. All right, so can you tell me what led to you deciding to become, to study medicine? Many of our parents, we have those three major career choices, medicine, law, or engineering, right? I think you later became accounting at some point. All right, so what led to your choice of medicine?
Okay, so I'm just someone that likes to help people, and while I was in secondary school, I just like thought I wanted to become a doctor. And then I wrote JAM, passed, and then I wrote like UI exam. But I think on the day of the exam, I was very sick, and then they started the exam very late. So I already knew I was going to fail. So the result came out, and yeah, so I didn't pass and I didn't make it. So I had of pre-degree in OAU. So I decided to jump on it. So then my mind was like, oh, I think this medicine is tough. Oh, let me just switch. So going to pre-degree, I decided to take the part of like, I've forgotten how they used to do it. They were like subjects you will study that would be related to medicine, for engineering, but I picked the ones for engineering, thinking like I
think engineering is more of physics.
Maths,
no, I think it's maths, physics,
and chemistry. Yes, those 3. I can't remember the combination. Okay. So it was shot that. Then I was like, okay, maybe I'll become like computer engineer, because I wasn't bad with
maths.
To me, yeah, I really love maths and computers. I learned, like, I went for a computer training when I was in GS3, all of that. So I was just like, okay, let me switch. Let me not spend so much time chasing medicine, because it looked like you have to be very, very smart to do medicine in this Nigeria.
But you were smart, at least to be in science class. In our days, you have to be very smart to go to science class.
Yeah, so that was just what I thought about. So I just went for pre-degree then. So I continued doing pre-degree in OAU. I did everything. So I think middle line, my dad had a colleague in his workplace that told him that, so his daughter is studying medicine in Ukraine, like I could try to. And then we started the whole process, though I was still like focusing on that. Like if anything, not like I've totally stopped attending classes, think like,
Yeah.
okay, no, I just continued. Anyone that works out is fine.
Mm.
So along the line, I finished the pre-degree, and yes, I was able to get a slot, but I still focused more on the medicine this thing.
Yeah.
And then I was able to get the admission, but it also took a while. Like my agent was not straightforward.
Mm.
So at a point in
I
time,
get
we
it.
even thought he duped us because we were calling him, he was not answering us. So we had to like, we were able to reach him later on. Then he said, okay, we should come to Abuja. And I thought like, oh, I was already ready to fly out. So that day I had to quickly buy everything, and
Well, you thought you
then
were going from Abuja
yes,
to.
go, yeah. So I bought everything. My dad came from Enugu because he works in Enugu. He came to
Oh.
pick me up. Then we went the next day. We traveled by road to Abuja. On getting to Abuja, then the agent started giving us stories that, oh, it's not going to work out, this and all of that. And we're like, why didn't you tell us all these things on the phone?
And you guys are already. You are already
Yes,
packed.
I'd already packed. Why didn't you tell
Yeah.
us all these things on the phone? And it was like, I maybe have to like wait a while. And then I was worried because I think like in Ukraine, September 1st is when like school
The new
starts.
session. Okay.
And that was already like maybe September ending, like starting October. I was like,
Wow.
what will happen? Is it that my admission has gone and all of that? So it was like, we should not worry. He said we should still hang on. So fast forward, I think 2 days later, I followed my dad back to Enugu. Then we now received visa appointment that, oh, I've gotten my visa
Wow.
and all of that. So I had to like go back, pay, and then I think, yeah, I now went back home. I came back to Ibadan. Then I think a few days later, I then traveled.
Traveled.
Yeah. So the thing was that when I was going to travel, since school starts at September 1st and I didn't meet that part,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to start like first year. So they
Okay.
told me that I would learn Ukrainian language for
Okay,
that.
for that
Then
year.
the next year, September, I will
Were you
start.
also going to work on the side?
No.
Oh, okay.
So the thing is that in Ukraine, you couldn't work because they speak Ukrainian language. As at that time, few people spoke English. So when you go around and you're speaking English, they're like, they don't
What
understand
year was
you. That was 2016.
Oh, okay.
They're like, they don't understand you and all of that. So I even I got to the country and I was like, oh my God. I was just like, I'm going to survive at the end of the day. I just had this mind in me that I'm alone. I have to figure out things for myself. I have to be strong. There's no mommy or daddy here. You have to do things yourself. So that was just
All right.
what
You
it
know,
was about.
I want to take us through, although you're already getting there, but then I want you to take us through how, when you landed, how did you get accommodation? How was it? Did you find other Nigerians immediately? How did you start figuring life out? The moment you landed, did you have somebody there that received you? You already mentioned that your dad's friend's daughter
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. So how was it navigating the first year?
Okay, so when I got there, so the thing was that it wasn't a straight flight to Ukraine. You have to first stop at Istanbul,
Okay.
and I think my waiting hours was maybe 6 or 7 hours. And then, naive me, I thought like every black person I saw was like a Nigerian or
Nigerian.
something. And then I started like saying hello, and then person was speaking French, and I was like, oh my God, why didn't I like take my French class serious when I was younger? So it was like difficult because like you want to pee and you need someone to hold your bag, and then again you have to like be careful. Don't just give your bag to
You can't
anyone.
just trust anyone.
Yeah, so I just figured out, and I think on the plane I met someone that was going to like the same city as I was in Lviv. So I stood near, like we're not staying on the same seat, but tried to. Then we got to the country. I had like the agent in back here has like a partner in Ukraine, so he was meant to come and pick me up at the airport. Yeah, so I got there with my other friend. Unluckily for her, she had some delays and with the immigration, and then like the agent had to like come in. But I was like, thank God, because me, I don't know anybody. Like she had like sisters and
That already there in
yes, so
Ukraine.
like
Oh,
the agent knows. I'm like, I don't know anybody. I'm just here. So I was able to bypass that. So the two of us went together with my agent. So like there's an hostel which we already paid for, and the hostel we have like a lot of Africans there, mostly Nigerians, then Ghanaians and Zambians. So we're all like basically together. So navigating, like talking to each other, we speak like English, but going to the market and all of that, we needed to like learn the language and know some things. That was just basically how it was.
All right. So you had this hostel with Africans,
Yeah, and
but
also a few Ukrainians.
few Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Okay. Where what was like the population of Nigerians there?
I would say Nigerians were maybe like um, maybe 60%.
60%. Oh,
We're
okay.
sure like the largest
All right. All
Africans
right. So
there.
that means it would have been very easy for you.
Yeah, it was.
So now let's fast forward to when you actually started studying.
Mhm.
So how would you describe your experience studying in Ukraine? Compared to studying in Nigeria, the educational system. Can you just take us into that a bit?
Okay, so the educational system there, you it is I would say it's quite tedious because you're doing tests every day.
Every day.
Yes, so you're doing tests every day for each course. So it's like the highest for my school, though some schools had different grading system. For mine, it was five. So once you get five, that's okay. Three is like average. So once you
Average.
get anything below three, you have to like redo the test or something like that. So you have to do test every day, and this test every day keeps accumulating. So once it gets to a I'm trying to remember. Yeah, but you shall need to like have the least you can have is three in total when they divide it and then trans.
Okay, the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you don't pass a test, maybe you've had like it's 4 weeks, and maybe in a week you have like um, Ukrainian language, like 2 or 3 lessons, and you've been piling up, you've been failing. You need to like we call it rework. You go
Okay.
back, meet the teacher, and then redo it. So the earlier you do it, the better for you, because if not, you keep
It will keep
piling it
piling up.
up, and at the end of the day, if you don't pass it, like the way Ukraine was like any small thing they tell you expelled, like they use it to
Wow.
scare us. So it was just like that. Because I even remembered one time they told me to bring my YX certificate, because like they don't give us certificate is not always ready in Nigeria. I think so, like maybe 2 years later or something. I can't
Well,
really
I think
remember.
it's better now, but yeah.
Yeah, so then it wasn't ready, and they told me that I had to bring it as soon as possible, and I was like, okay, that summer I would go home. They told me to come and sign a letter, and it was like in Ukrainian language, like if I don't bring my YX certificate before this time, they would expel me.
Wow.
Me hearing that, I had to like call my parents and tell them, please do something, and my dad had to do, and then send it. So the way it was for us, any small thing, they are so quick to tell you you'll be expelled. If you don't pay your school fees on time, you'll be expelled, all of that. So
So are you
like
even saying it's worse than the Nigerian system?
maybe like to an extent, because that writing test every day was like
That must have been
so with the
tedious.
code, you have to make sure you read and all of that. Yeah, so at the end of the day, they to them I feel like they feel it's good, but to us at some point in time you just have to keep cramming, because then again when the main test comes, you have to like go back to revise all of that. Then it feels like you've forgotten
Yes.
even though you did test. So that was just
That must have been very
yeah, so
tedious.
that's just how their
But
system
how
is like.
about the quality of to talk about equipment, and all of that, compared to Nigeria here, the modern you had access to laboratories that were that had
Yes,
modern equipment and everything
yes,
was world class, right?
yes. No, I'm not world class, but it was okay. I mean, it was
Compared
good.
to Nigeria.
Yes, it was good.
All right. All right, now let's get to where we are going. How actually the war started officially in 2014.
Yeah.
But when at what year did you have to move, right? I know something happened, something very, very um, pivotal
Yeah.
happened at some point. What year was that?
It was. I think it was 2022. That was just
2022.
when everything.
That was
Yes,
the
that was
climax
just
of the
the
whole thing.
peak.
All right. And so where were you at that? What level were you at that time?
So I was in my final year then when the war.
The final year.
Yes.
Had you had written your final exams?
No, I didn't return it.
Wow. So how did you know exactly that this war had started? And what was the first reaction for everyone, especially international students that were studying?
So the thing was that I think weeks before the war started, there was like this thing. Maybe there was like there was a warning, and then
Yeah.
like so some Americans that were in Ukraine had to like
Leave.
leave, and then some people were already planning to go. They're like, okay, they'll buy flight for their children
Yeah,
to
Putin was
come.
already
Yeah, I
gathering
was
troops
already
around the borders.
giving
Yeah.
signals and all of that. Then it felt like they settled it like later on, and I remember then we're just making memes and we're just like, if they come, I think we didn't really know the impact of what war was going to be like, and then we're just making jokes. But as at that point when it started, what what happened was that I was staying in Lviv, so Lviv was like the safe side,
Okay.
and it had like border with Poland.
Okay.
So what still kept me was like, I was like, okay, it has border with Poland. They won't attack because they don't want
To
problem
the
with
Poland.
Poland
Mhm.
and all of that. So I was still calm. But for my friends or people that were at Kharkov, people had to like leave, just carry school bag, just enter train,
Wow.
and like no time to carry anything. I knew like guys like all those their fine shoes. They just like packed box and then put shoes. Like shoes was like the
Just
only
only
things
shoes.
they were taking because
The
for
most
them,
important thing.
yeah, for them it was this thing, and like
Mm.
people were like struggling to enter train, and they pushed us like pushed
Wait, wait, wait,
black
wait,
people
wait,
out. Like it
wait.
was
Let's paint the picture well.
yeah,
So there were trains loading. The way
yeah,
you used to load at Oshodi then. I don't know if you've experienced Oshodi. And people were scrambling to enter the trains.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
those people that were black, they pushed
Yeah,
them aside.
yes,
Wow.
like they did a lot of crazy things there. Like they entered the train and maybe they're black, tell you to come out. So like they were mainly focusing on their people and
You
one
mean
way,
Ukrainians?
yeah. So it was
Wow.
like one way or the other. Just few people, yeah, people entered, but they were really like a lot of struggle. I don't really know, but I knew I saw online some people that faced like people really face a lot of things there. Even for me that was in Lviv, like because we have like Nigerian association, so we on our group page we're already like, okay, the president there was like, okay, let's find a way like how we can leave. So like since Poland is nearby, they're going
Mhm.
to walk to the border. So they walked and went there, and then they said no, they're not going to allow them to cross over. And walking was like, okay, you have to take car to an extent and then walk for like 1 hour 30 minutes or
Mhm.
something like that. And then they said they're not going to allow them to
Wow.
pass that border, and then they had to like come back and then look for another border like to be able to. So it was really crazy. Like it was a time where they were like racist, because I had a friend that he was outside for like 2 days,
Mm.
and February that time is like the peak of winter, so it was very cold.
Mm.
Like he even got sick then, because and then they stole like his laptop and
Oh
some
wow.
other things. Yeah, so like for we blacks, like we they really dealt with us, or it was just somehow like obviously we knew like Ukrainians were like always racist at some point in time, so it's nothing new, but that was just how it was. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Now, I would love for us to get back to, because the next natural question to ask is about the embassy, right? The Nigerian embassy to
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine there. But I'm going to hold on that for a bit. But how was it? Because I want you to zoom in a little bit to this racism thing, right? How was it being an international student, especially from Africa and especially from Nigeria, in Ukraine? What kind of, can you just paint some of the, were they really racist? How welcoming were they? And did you get some crazy remarks from people that you're in class together or something? And was it a common thing? Was it an occasional thing?
No, it was really a common thing, because I even had a friend that he told me back then before 2014. I can't remember what year he came, but then he had even told me like there's some restaurant, sorry,
Yeah.
as a black person you can't go there.
Wow.
As a black person you can't go there. That was how bad it was. And even me, I experienced it. Like I was walking out like one day with my friend, and then on the road like the Ukrainian guy shouted and was like chorny divchata. So like chorny is like black girls,
Oh,
and he shouted that and then spat on the road.
wow.
Like so they always do that. And or maybe like on the elevator, like maybe for instance like ShopRite or those
Hmm.
elevator, and then like a baby sees you and then starts crying. And then one day when I saw the child was crying, and I was like, you will cry more since you want to, like, since you want to cry, like, I'll make you cry more, something like that. So
Wow.
it was that bad. And learning the language, I mean, I don't know, for me, since I didn't have like so much, I didn't have Ukrainian friends then. So like, like when you learn a language,
Yeah.
if you're able to practice and talk with people,
Yeah.
like you understand it more. So
Hmm.
for guys, it was like easier, because definitely you have Ukrainian girls, they
Hmm.
go out and then they want to like talk to you. But for me and like Ukrainian guys, like I never even thought about having friends, because they just look like dirty, and they were just one kind of way. So learning the language too was a bit this year. I know that I just try as much as possible to know like basic things. When I
Mm.
go out, I want to buy this, change directions and all of that. But yeah, Ukrainians are racist, and it
Wow.
still even showed up to the point of war. And even when we like moved to other countries, and because when we moved to other countries, they had like provision for accommodation. Some were like hostels, so we could stay together with them. And
With
still staying
Ukrainians.
together with them, they still like kind of showed how like,
Oh.
yeah.
All
So
right. Okay. So back to the war and moving from Ukraine itself. So what was the effort that the Nigerian embassy to Ukraine took? At what point did the Nigerian government come to your aid as international students in Ukraine?
if I could remember, there were numbers going around, like people you could reach out to when you
Okay.
get to Poland. But I think those ones were like
So
maybe
there was no support in
pastors,
Ukraine, but in other countries.
yeah, in other, yeah, outside. So that was it. And then they brought like a plane to take people from Poland and Hungary. And I think when people got to Nigeria, maybe they gave them 5,000, or I can't remember the amount because
To
I
find their
didn't
way.
because I don't even because I didn't follow. Yeah, but